Welcome to the Horror Next Door. This is everything we watched in September 2021. If you would like to know what rating we ended up giving these movies, or if you would just like to follow us, a link to our Letterboxd account will be in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing.
Hellraiser Deader from 2005. We watched this on Blu-ray, which Psycho owns. I really can't remember much about this at all. I feel like I might have seen it in the past and I couldn't remember it from then either. But the only thing I do recall is that Pinhead was barely in it, which is a major drag. I wouldn't really recommend this.
Yeah, this is one of the later films in the series. I think it's part 7 if you're counting. We hadn't seen it in a while and we've said, screw it, let's watch it. But it's not good. At least it has Doug Bradley as Pinhead, but he's probably in the movie a total of like 6 minutes. The Church from 1989, and we watched this on Hellcat's DVD that she owns.
This movie is crazy. There's so many weird things that happen that just make you go, what? Because the tone changes so often and there's lots of really unexpected things. It is a roller coaster ride of a flick. I mean, I definitely like it, though it's not like my favorite Italian horror movie in the universe or anything. It is a fun watch and I would recommend it.
I believe this is sometimes referred to as Demons 3. Don't hold me to it, but I'm pretty sure it's Demons 3. I just remember this movie being a big gore fest and it was fun to watch. I had never seen it before. I would totally recommend this movie, especially if you like Italian horror or the first 2 demon movies. Demons.
Extracurricular from 2018, which we watched on Tubi. This movie was extremely frustrating, in my opinion. I just couldn't stand any of the main characters. They are obviously villains, but none of them were even remotely likable. All I wanted was for one of their intended victims to do something to hinder what they were trying to accomplish, and what happened instead was just infuriating, so I would not recommend this movie.
I agree. There were several parts in the movie where you're just like, how stupid can these victims be? Like, please do something. Attack these people, like fight back, do something. Stop leaving the weapon on the ground and walking away. Like just dumb shit. The main characters are just so annoying. Would not recommend this at all. After Death, also known as Zombie 4 from 1989. We watched this on Tubi. I would not recommend this movie. Usually Italian horror movies are fun, but this one, it wasn't really that entertaining.
This is just over the top in every way imaginable, but not in any necessarily enjoyable ways. There are just way too many elements that they tried to throw in there. I don't know if editing has anything to do with it, but there's like a jungle setting, but then there's like these biker type people. I guess they're mercenaries. The zombies, I don't even know. And a lot of really poor, stupid decisions were made on the characters' parts that are frustrating. So I also would not recommend this. Hell's Highway from 2002. We watched this on one of my DVDs in my crappy horror movie packs, as I like to call them. We were on vacation and just trying to watch it before we went to bed. I'm glad we were half asleep. I unfortunately had already seen it before this second viewing, and I really never need to see it again. There were a couple of super ridiculous parts that made it hilarious, which is why our rating is 1 star instead of half of a star. But I would not recommend this movie.
I also would not recommend this movie. It's pretty bad. It's scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to horror films. There's some unintentionally funny moments, but nothing that's going to make you get through it and be like, oh wow, well, that was fun. No, it wasn't fun at all. Butterfly Kisses from 2018. We watched this one on Tubi. This movie was awesome. It's like a found footage documentary type style. It had a really well written story. I think it was really well crafted. The backstory they gave, to the legend and everything was really, thought out. Not sure if it's based on anything in real life, but I don't know. I really like this one and I would really recommend it.
Yes, Peeping Tom was definitely a very interesting creation. The thought of that legend is definitely creepy. I actually went on to purchase this on DVD after we watched it because I liked it that much. Also, I said this to Psycho while we were watching it. It reminded me of pretty much one of my all-time favorite books, House of Leaves. The layers to it and just the fact that the obsession goes on and on through different generations and stuff. It was so interesting to me. We also just wanted to say a really quick rest in peace to director Eric Christopher Myers. We found out that he passed away very shortly after we just saw this film for the first time, so our condolences to Eric's family. To Jennifer from 2013. I guess I thought the premise of this sounded sort of interesting, so when I saw it on Tubi, I just thought, well, why not? You know, it's free, the ads on there are short, let's go. However, it was extremely annoying and frustrating. The whole thing with the main couple of guys just got so dragged out for way too long. The way they were talking and behaving was irritating and grating. By the time anything actually started happening, I was so over it. Definitely do not recommend this at all.
Yeah, I feel like this movie kind of drug on and on and on. I thought it had a good premise, like a good story to it, but the execution of it was just a failure. I feel like everything that happened in the movie could have been summed up in like 20 minutes and then you get to the horror. But this movie's an hour and so minutes and then there's 10 minutes of horror at the end and then it's over. Yeah. So I don't even really feel like I can consider it a horror film unless you just watch the last 10 minutes, but would not recommend this at all. Fantasy Island 2020. I rented this one on disc from Netflix. Yes, I still rent discs from Netflix.
We both do.
This movie was just ridiculous.
That's all that needs to be said. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I don't even know what else to say. It's pretty ridiculous. There's some twists at the end. It's just like, what? And I feel like things weren't really fully thought out and explained very well. I don't know. It just seemed like they just threw some stuff together and said, oh, there's a movie. Put it out there. Would not recommend it.
I like Maggie Q a lot, but after this and Death of Me, I'm just like, what are you doing, girl? You need to let us talk to your agent or something. JK. But anyway, Psycho pretty much made me watch this. I was completely against him even renting this. I did not like it. It was so absurd, and I would not recommend it. Malignant from 2021. You have to have heard of this movie already if you're a horror fan. We watched it on HBO Max. It's super fun. We are in the I don't know if it's the minority or the majority, because it seems like everybody both loves and hates this, but we enjoyed it. We thought it was a great time. I know some people say that the twist or whatever was really obvious, but we didn't necessarily see it coming. I had the idea in my head, but I didn't say it out loud. Still, the way it was revealed was shocking and awesome. Shout out Zoe Bell. I'd recommend this.
I would recommend this too. It's definitely not James Wan's best horror film he's ever made or anything like that, but I liked it. I had fun with it. Yeah, the twist is a little absurd and things get a little ridiculous towards the end, but it's a fun movie. It's a fun ride, and that's what movies are for. So I would recommend it. Check it out. Wages of Sin from 2006. We watched this as part of the Crappy Horror Movie Pack on DVD. I honestly have no idea what this movie's about. I am drawing a blank of everything to do with this movie. I know we watched it before we went to bed one night, but I cannot remember a thing about it, so I'm going to say I cannot recommend it.
Unfortunately, this was my second viewing of this movie. Again, we're going through some of my, little DVD horror packs and watching things that Psycho hasn't seen yet. So I'm seeing some of these really bad movies again, and I remembered nothing about it. When we first pulled it up to talk about it, I couldn't remember it. The only thing I will say is that the two lead female characters are pretty, and there's nothing else of any value in this movie, so yikes, wouldn't recommend it. Keepsake from 2010, which is also from one of my DVDs in what we call the Crappy Packs. However, this is definitely one of the best of the crappy horror movie packs, in my opinion. Again, my second time viewing this, it's one of the only ones I remembered. It's definitely one of the only ones I remembered liking. I think the twist is really cool. Some might say they see it coming, but I highly doubt that's the truth. There are definitely some slow parts and some parts where you're frustrated by the lead's decisions and behaviors, but overall, I like this one and would recommend it.
I would also recommend this movie. It's definitely one of the hidden gems in the crappy horror movie pack world. I do agree that there are some slow parts. I think that's probably the only negative to it. And there are some things that the main character does that's questionable, but I think the twist at the end kind of makes you understand why those choices were made. Also, the main killer guy looks like Chris Watts, and it's really creepy.
It's disturbing AF. Also, we're talking about this one a little bit longer than the other ones, and I apologize. I just have to throw in that there is a decent amount of nudity. There's definitely some abusive and very uncomfortable and icky situations in this. So trigger warning, we're recommending it, but with caution.
1031 from 2017. We watched this on Amazon Video. This is an anthology movie revolving around Halloween. Usually anthology movies are pretty cool. There's always something in there that you like, regardless. And that being said, I think I only liked one of the stories. I think it was the first story. I'm kind of drawing a blank on the other stories. Would not recommend this movie. There's better horror anthologies out there that you could watch.
I agree. I wouldn't recommend this, unfortunately. I mean, even the little horror hostess in the wraparound thing was irritating. I just really, unfortunately, can't think of anything about this that I could recommend. Usually, I've said this in some of our videos, but usually with anthologies, there's something for everyone, and I honestly don't know what in this would be for almost any horror fan. I think we're still going to try to check out the sequel just out of morbid curiosity, so look for that one later.
I will say this, I think the poster is pretty badass. I like it.
Good job. Curtains from 1983. We watched this on one of my DVDs. It's actually in one of our crappy horror movie packs, but again, I gotta say, this is one of the gems. Definitely one of the stars of the show. I've seen this 2 times now. I like the reveal of the killer. I don't think that it's obvious who it is. Maybe to some people it would be, but I like that it's not obvious. That mask is iconic. I'm sure you've seen it in GIFs or stills and maybe even wondered what the heck it was from. That mask is so creepy. The weird little doll is creepy. The movie is a little bit scattered. I think there were some production problems. I remember reading that somewhere. I like it a lot overall, and I would recommend it.
So in the crappy horror movie packs, they always randomly throw in these old 80s movies and things, and this is one of the random 80s movies that's thrown in there, and it's a good 80s movie. It's not a crappy movie. I had never seen this before. This was my first viewing, and I did see GIFs online of the weird creepy mask and never seen the movie and was like, I gotta see that movie one day, and I finally seen it, and I liked it. I thought it was really well done. I liked the storyline with the actresses all going to the guy's house to audition for this movie, and he's just kind of
slimy.
He's kind of slimy, but he's also strict and hardcore, so to say. And he's played by John Vernon, who was in Killer Clowns from Outer Space. But this movie's cool. Highly recommend it. Definitely an 80s horror movie gem.
Once again, we thank you so very much for watching. We love hearing from you guys. We've gotten some really cool comments and would love to hear from you if you watched anything great in the month of September that you want to share with us so we can check it out too. Also, just want to let you know that we are watching a horror film every day in October to celebrate Spoopy Month or Spooktober, pretty much the best month of the year. Let's be real. So look out for that video. We'll have a whole bunch going on for you for October. Happy Halloween!